Ain't no one in the NFL better than me.
Let's jump into Fluke for real. A little bit of a heavier list to talk about this week, Wes. Starting out with a couple of Monday night studs. Just grouping together here is Jameis Winston with nearly 41 fantasy points, and Jerry Jeudy with 40.5 fantasy points, 9 catches, 235 yards, and a touchdown in a revenge game going up against the head coach that traded him away. And Jameis Winston almost 500 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and then Jameis with 3 interceptions. Gotta love it. I've never seen so many deep shots taken by either quarterback in a game like consistently like that. That was awesome. So, what do we think here with Jabu and Jerry Jeudy?
Well, with Jameis Winston, we've been talking about this for several weeks now. Something that you pointed out is how many times Jameis throws the gosh darn damn football. Almost 60 times.
The pass
again. I want to pull up here real quick how many pass attempts he has had over the last several games, because this is more of why I think this is for real, and I think you can buy into Jameis as a quarterback for your team. The 500 yards you're probably not going to see again, but over the last 5 games, he had 27 attempts against Pittsburgh because it was a very snowy game. But since every game he has started, 41 attempts, 46, and then 58 attempts. His arm's gonna fall off by the end. It's unbelievable. I love it. I think he can be a starting quarterback if you really want to have him on your bench or you're going to play a matchup dependent game. But Jerry Jeudy, it's so hard to not say this is for real when you put up a massive game like this. The last time we saw this was Jackson Smith and Jigba, where he put up 37 points, I believe, in week 9. That guy has now been a top 10 wide receiver, more or less, at this point in the total season points. He's for sure, JSN, almost top 10. So it's hard for me, even though I see the ridiculous stat line of 9 catches for 235 yards, to say it's not for real. With 13 targets is great. I know Cedric Tillman was out, and Tillman may or may not be as important. David Njoku had a good game. Elijah Moore had a couple of good plays as well. I just feel like there's a chance that Jerry Jeudy could absolutely be a league-winning playoff hero right now, here on out. I know the Browns don't have much to play for, but that's how I feel with Jerry Jeudy at this moment.
Yeah, I agree. I think the 40.5 fantasy points, I don't know if we're preparing for that for the rest of the season, for the rest of his career, perhaps. Like but the target count since week 8, 11, 11, 6, 13. That correlates with 12.9 points, 14.3 points, 26.2, 14.5, and then obviously 40.5. None of those games are disappointed with a waiver wire addition. So
absolutely not.
Yeah, this is for real. He's a flex play, pretty much locked into your lineup going forward. The passing volume, I don't think you can argue with it. Even with the schedule moving forward, I think it's Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Cincinnati, and then Miami, and they should be passing the football against those teams plenty. And so he should be awesome, and Jameis loves him. So I agree. It's great. Caleb Williams, 32.1 fantasy points, 20 for 39, 256, and 3 touchdowns. Using his legs a bit too. I don't know his rushing stats here, but good to see him rushing a bit as well. How do you feel about Caleb?
I feel like he had 4 rushes for 39 yards. That's not how I feel like. That's just his rushing stats. I feel like he's a little too unreliable, especially with the coaching changes and the very difficult rest of the season schedule. 49ers, Vikings, Lions again, and then finishing with the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know if Caleb Williams is someone you can start for the playoffs with how inconsistent and disappointing the Bears offense has been for several weeks. I feel like you have better options. I can convince you more likely to start DJ Moore and Keenan Allen going forward than I am to Caleb Williams. So because of where we are right now, with one more week in regular season and then fantasy playoffs to help you win the championship, I do not see Caleb Williams as the quarterback to help you win a championship.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. Back-to-back top 5 quarterback weeks, but before that, QB 21, QB 26, QB 28, QB 28. It just wasn't working. It's crazy to look at his last 8 games. Half of them he's been a top 6 quarterback. That was a really bad stretch there after the bye week, but
yeah,
the offense is shifting. Yeah, I agree, Wes. I think this is more of a sign for DJ Moore and Keenan. Yeah, I would quicker start DJ Moore than Keenan, but I agree.
would too.
I think Keenan is still flex worthy, but yeah, Caleb, I think it's good to see him playing well. Hopefully they can get him a good system, good coach, good offensive mind in the new year. But yeah, I think this is probably more of a fluke than anything. You probably don't want to move forward with him here. Rico Dowdle, 21.3 fantasy points, West 22 carries.
Yeah,
3 targets. I love the opportunities here for Dowdle. You almost wonder, should they have been doing this all season long?
Oh, it's as if
perhaps if it's
something...
a good idea. But
Yeah.
21.3 fantasy points. What do you think about Rico?
Yeah, I think you have to weigh your options as who a better flex option is, unless you don't have any other running back. But I think Rico Dowdle, this is for real, and I think he's a lock in your lineup. The whole Cowboys offense, forget CeeDee Lamb, like 5 points, Thanksgiving Day. Forget it. I mean, we had this concern. We had to talk about it a couple weeks ago. Would you rather have CeeDee Lamb or Tyreek Hill for the rest of the season? Not to tease our next player. But we really do see that Rico Dowdle is... It's more so that Mike McCarthy's trying to save his job, and Cooper Rush is not the answer for the offense. And so Rico Dowdle is going to get 20 carries a game, and then I'm sure at some point he's going to score. And I think that's a lock, and I think that's for real.
Yeah, I think it's for real as well. I agree. Plays Carolina first week of fantasy playoffs. That's awesome. It's a great matchup.
Very nice.
Tyreek Hill, you just mentioned it, 20.3 fantasy points. Get that shit out of my face. I'm so annoyed after we just went out and talked about him, saying you don't have to start him just because he's Tyreek Hill. He's like a tip drill 10-yard touchdown away from having like a 12-point game again. But it happens that way. I'm so done with it. I even after this week, because you know what's going to happen. You're going to start him next week, and then he's going to have 10 points again. So that's how it's going to go. So I'm
playoffs
in a league where I have Jerry Jeudy and Calvin Ridley as options. I'm starting either of those guys over him still. I don't care. I'm so done with it. As I am with this next guy. Get Sam Laporta's bitch ass out of the... Oh my gosh, dude.
This is the dumbest stat line I've ever seen.
3 catches, 6 yards. Oh, why is he in the good section? Because he had 2 touchdowns. He had 15.6 fantasy points on 6 yards. F that S, dude. I'm so annoyed.
Yeah.
And don't... No, it's a fluke. Don't start him. Ugh. Yeah. Do more, or can I stop thinking about him?
You can stop talking about him. You're good.
Thank you. Okay, great. Devontae Adams, another guy that I'm just like so. Why is this so? Why am I so frustrated with all these guys we're talking about right now?
I don't know. This is Devontae the angriest I've seen anyone during
17.6 fantasy points, 5 catches on 12 targets for 66 yards and a touchdown. Ooh, we did it! We did it, Devontae. We got in the end zone. Okay, Dude, no. I'm done. I'm not. I have him in a league because you know what? It's going to be the same thing as Tyreek. You're going to start him. And then he's not going to do shit. He's not going to do anything. We talked about him in the game against Houston, and it was like, whoa, 11 for 7 for 90, or 7 catches for 91 and a touchdown? All right. Aaron Rodgers has his guy back. And then it was like, yeah, here's 9 points. Here's 13 points. And then you didn't start him. And then he had 17.6. Are you
Texans,
in agreement with me, or is this just...
I am. This is, I mean, for those that did not get to see the Benny Hill version of football between the Jets and the Seahawks. That was the most ridiculous football game I've ever seen. I don't understand also how the Jets lost that game. That is absurd.
Dude,
so I think many things were crazy that's a fluke. I'm in agreement. What a hilarious game.
I'm so annoyed.
Good for the Seahawks to get out of there alive.
Here's the only way I think we end up stopping Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is by telling you it's for real right now, and then next week
we have to band together.
Points. Like I can't not say it. It's for real. Like it's for real. Like it's he just scores touchdowns. Like that's how it goes. He's like Sam Laporta of the wide receivers this year, and it's just Sam Laporta of last year, but for this year, I mean it's just and the schedule's so great for wide receivers, so you just got to keep rolling them out. Yeah,
it's pretty good. And the amazing thing, it's not like he's a red zone guy. I mean, he's getting deep touchdowns too. It's every which way.
A couple weeks ago,
he's just scoring. I started him in a dynasty league. I've got him in. I was stoked, and that's what you were texting me about. You're like, stop it, and I was like, no, keep going. I'm trying to make playoffs.
Yeah, it's just. And I'm sorry because he's going to score 3 points this week now that we've done this. But it's
let's just call it.
But it's for real.
Until he stops scoring touchdowns, then I mean, are you going to start Nick Westbrook-Ikhine to make playoffs this week? That's the only thing I consider. It's like
I think you have to weigh your options too, because as I'm saying that we're calling this for real, but it's like T. Higgins or Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. I'm probably going to still go T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Or
but dude, his schedule's
like Jerry
so good.
Jeudy. I know the wide receiver schedule's so good. So it's like this is what I think with Calvin Ridley is that it was like it's such a good schedule rest of season that it's just so great. So I don't know.
You know who I might start in first week of playoffs if I make playoffs. And I've got Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, and this is kind of the
Jacksonville
general
twice in the fantasy playoffs.
He's got Jacksonville this week, and he's got Jacksonville last week of fantasy. But first week of playoffs, he's got the Bengals, man. Are you kidding me? Starting Nick Westbrook-Ikhine to win the first round of playoffs.
It just depends on your if you have him and you're contemplating it. Comment who you're between, because it is like a this or that kind of situation, but it's like, hey, if he's going to score a touchdown and he's going to go like 2 for 30 with a touchdown, this might be like if you need 14 points, you might this might be okay. This might be he's like
hilarious.
He's like the Najee Harris of wide receivers. He's just reliable. That's just what it's going to land at. So Parker Washington is our next guy here. Wes, you called him out a couple weeks ago on the waiver wire when Christian Kirk went down. What do we think here with Parker Washington with 24.3 fantasy points on 12 targets?
There's a lot of reason to think that this is still a fluke. This is such a fantastic stat line, but he's been so quiet since he had a pretty solid game after Kirk was done for the year. So I actually am going to say this is a fluke because Brian Thomas Jr. has still been doing very well. Evan Ingram is still dependable. There's also absolutely nothing going on in the rushing game anymore for anybody in Jacksonville, so forget it. Victory lap Tuesday on that one. We both were like, Travis Etienne's not even going to sniff top 15 this season, and that's for sure. But I as much as I like Washington, read about him in the offseason and training camp, and he's making some pretty great catches and showing out. There's still the Mac Jones element, and there's still just a little too. I don't trust it. I'm sorry, but I think that's a fluke.
I agree. Pat Fryermuth, the next guy here, 18.8 fantasy points. The Muth got a little bit loose with 6 catches for 68 and a touchdown in their game against the Bengals. That was a fun one, by the way. That was another good one. So bad for Joe Burrow. He's wasting the best year of his career.
Yeah.
On this terrible Bengals defense, and it is so disappointing.
Yeah, I'll take it on the chin, too, because I was like, I need Burrow and Jamar Chase to prove it to me, because they both just kind of had weaker seasons since their Super Bowl run.
I was worried about the injury, I was worried with Joe Burrow
and then Joe
injury.
Burrow's
Yeah.
hand injury is a lot, but they're doing it, and they're both amazing, and
So good.
they both could finish number one as quarterback and wide receiver. And this
Yeah.
Bengals defense is absolute trash, and so for that reason, I actually say that Freiermuth is a fluke because I think you have to throw it a billion times because you can do whatever you want to the Bengals defense. It's impressive, which is also why we talked about Nick Westbrook-Akine being a potential week one playoff round starter. So for that reason, I say Freiermuth is a fluke.
I agree. Anthony Richardson here, 25.16 fantasy points on 109 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and he ran a touchdown as well. I don't feel good. Like, if I need a win to get into the playoffs, I just don't feel good about it. He's doing it 12 for 24. He completed 50% completion. He's just not proved enough to me as a thrower, I don't think. But I could be wrong.
However, there's only one thing I will say that I do think is for real. I don't think you start him when they're back. I don't think you start him week 15. But he does play the Titans and the Giants for the last 2 weeks of the fantasy season, and that is intriguing to me, especially with their record.
If you're streaming, you could do worse, probably. Yeah.
And with the Colts record, and they're in the hunt, and they're fighting, and the division is still sort of up for grabs too, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite teams to have fantasy players on, the ones that are fighting for playoff spots. So there's a chance this is for real. So I'm going to put a pin in this and say week 16, he could be a starter, but obviously not on the bye week. But then week 15 against the Broncos defense, we just saw what Jameis Winston did. Even though he threw 500 yards, I'm still not going to buy that Richardson is a starter first round playoffs against the Broncos defense.
Nope. He's no Jameis.
He's no Jameis Winston, dude.
Last guy here, Bucky Irving.
I hope he's healthy.
Ready?
His hip is like.
Yeah, I hope he's healthy. Did you see the video of him walking into the locker room?
Yeah, man.
Dude, he was like it was like the guy in SpongeBob was just all like bandaged up and just broken.
Yeah. My bones are made of glass.
I hope he's okay. He reports today that he said he was feeling better than yesterday. But here's your 2024 league winner. He has taken the job. And I'll eat crow on it, dude, because I was like, this class is so weak, and Bucky Irving was one of the later drafted running backs anyways. I just don't see him. I don't see Rachaad White losing the job. And Rashad's value in the PPR game still makes him flex worthy. And you hope for the touchdown to be able to make it a really solid week for him. But I mean, 25 carries for 152 yards and a touchdown, 3 for 3 for 33 yards in the air. And you may want to go, it was Carolina, but he's been doing it for 2.5 months now. For the last 10 weeks, He's been awesome. And it's he's your league winner. He's the 2024 league winner. So there you go. Let's talk about some beer guys. Let's talk about some beer guys. I don't know when I adopted that, but it's my favorite part of the Tuesday episodes now. It's so fun. He's a beer guy. Chiefs running backs. Hey.
Oh, the weight.
How's that middle finger?
Worth it.
Isaiah Pacheco owners. I mean, just they completely split opportunity, really. Kareem Hunt ended up with one more touch than Pacheco did, but I mean, I think that was Kareem Hunt's last chance to be in my lineup. I think Pacheco passed the eye test and looked way better. So, I mean, if you're going to start one, it's going to be Pacheco going forward. But, I mean, I'm a little worried if I have to. I'm hoping if I have to.
Yeah, and at this point, people that have made or are making playoffs with Pacheco on the roster have done it without him. So they're probably not all that concerned. Right. Kareem Hunt owners that have, gotten by because Kareem Hunt has been so great are concerned. I dropped Kareem Hunt to go pick up someone else. So I think it was I have as well. I forget what it was. I think it was like there was the Brees Hall report about his knee injury.
Yeah,
and he
so
could
you go
probably
Braylon or something.
Yeah, and I was like, I need to make a decision. I think it might have been Kareem Hunt, but either way, Kareem Hunt is a drop candidate for sure. So that's absolutely for real. Pacheco, I don't know if you're going to start him. You got to see how he does next week. I'm not going to start him next week. I have Pacheco in one league. I'm not going to start him next week. I also have Bijan Robinson and Aaron Jones and Tony Pollard. So there's no reason for me to start Pacheco over them.
Yeah.
But I'm a little concerned for Pacheco.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. Kenneth Walker III. Hey, this is so whack, dude. We texted about this on Sunday. It was like, I texted you and I was like, did I miss some like Kenneth Walker III injury? Like, why is Charbonnet getting all this work inside the 5? Like, what's happening? Like, what's going on? Like, this is not the guy. I mean, like, I'm a Kenneth Walker III manager in a league where I'm going to have to win next week. And dude, okay, we're in this league together. Yeah. The standings in this league with that your dad is the commissioner of are
oh my gosh,
bananas, bro. They're half the league last week was 6-6.
Here, I can pull it up. This is hilarious.
It's absurd. Like
10
it was
teams.
Yeah,
ready
10
for this? First place 8-4, second 7-5, and then 6-6, 6-6, 6-6, 6-6, 6-6, 6-6, 5-7. You think I'm kidding? Look at this.
It's literally, it's legitimately.
Come on,
it is like
here.
That many teams are.
Look at these standings. That is so funny.
5 teams in the league. Is that 5 or is that 6?
That's
is that 5?
6.
That's half the league.
There are 6
more
teams
than half
that
the
are
league.
6-6 from last week.
And so like the whole situation is just crazy. I had Jerry Jeudy on my bench in that league, and it was like, no. Came closer than I wanted. Bo Nix had a little bit of a turd fest, so that sucked. But
yeah, you should have started Jerry Jeudy over Cooper Kupp, you big dingus.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah,
like it was, and that was when I made my bold claim, and I benched Tyreek Hill for Calvin Ridley.
Hill.
And so I was like, listen, you don't have to do it. And then it was like, I wouldn't have won if I'd done.
No, if you started
with Tyreek. No, I wouldn't have won.
You would have had.
But if I would have done Jeudy over Ridley, I would have won. But it's like Jeudy, and you're assuming what the hell happened with the Broncos? Why did Patrick Surtain II has covered every top wide receiver on the opposing team the whole season? So I'm like, yeah, I mean it. And I had said like I'm thinking about Jerry Jeudy. Like I have Jerry Jeudy. I might go Jerry Jeudy over Tyreek Hill in that league. But I was like, you know what? You play the matchup here. I prefer someone not being covered by Patrick Surtain II all game.
I think he's their buddies. He's like, dude, you need to have a good game. Well, I'll win, but you can have the best game.
Yeah, revenge game. But you, yeah, there you go. But anyway, so Kenneth Walker III, I have him in this league. I also have like Tyrone Tracy in this league.
Yeah,
I'm gonna need to win. I can't bench K-Dub for Tyrone Tracy next week, can I?
Well, they're playing the Saints next week. They're playing Saints.
Who?
Saints? The Giants. If I'm not mistaken.
Saints are giving him so many points.
They're giving him a lot
to the running back.
I'm thinking about it in a must-win as well for me. But
are they on a bye week? No. Kenneth Walker already is bye week.
No, that's already passed. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
let
tough.
us know in the comments.
Let us know what you're thinking about for your asking for a friend. Yeah. Anyway, and the last guy here, Kate Otten. Well, it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, it was really good while it lasted.
It was really great while Mike Evans was out. And then Mike Evans came back, and then we were all like, is Jalen McMillan going to play the slot role? Is it going to be Trey Palmer? And they're like, it's just going to be Mike Evans. We're going to put Mike Evans in that Chris Godwin role, and it's just going to be great. And so, Kate Otten, unfortunately, there's probably better options out there for you. So
and Mike Evans looked fantastic as well. So sorry. And I also think this is for real because of Bucky Irving, because of this ground game and this rushing attack. I know the Panthers have like the worst rush defense in the NFL, but this is for real.